Have you tried to buy a house lately? Well, if you have, you've no doubt found that they're priced right out of sight. It's even tough trying to find an affordable place to rent nowadays. The problem, of course, is that we're in the middle of a housing shortage, which has not been helped by our conservative building industry, whose basic construction methods and materials remain unchanged while costs keep rising. What we need are less expensive ways to build houses and cheaper materials to build them with. We need a house that's beautiful, soundproof, durable, and so inexpensive that we can redo it every couple of years. Impossible? Not so, says Alex Messenger.
I'm a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, the Graduate School of Fine Arts. One of the main objectives in architecture is to create an environment which will be an extension of the human body.
Newly developed man-made fibers and fabrics are the materials that Messenger works with. And he discovered their amazing properties only recently, while working as an artist in residence at the Philadelphia College of Textiles and Science. There, he learned that man-made fibers such as polyester, fiberglass, and Kevlar are 3 to 8 times stronger than steel on a weight basis comparison. For example, a half-pound cable of woven fiberglass would still be holding out against stress long after a half-pound cable of steel had snapped.
From the structural point of view, I'm amazed by the fact that if it's, let's assume, 8 times stronger than steel, that I can use it instead of steel, and I will create structures that will be maybe 8 times lighter or 8 times greater in dimension.
Weight limits the dimensions and span of architectural structures. Messenger believes that he can greatly extend those limits by using stronger but lighter materials. Fabrics of man-made fibers could be stretched across large areas, vertically and horizontally, without the need of supporting columns. And those fabrics could be stretched any way that you might desire. You could have walls that curve or go straight. Or if you wanted walls of different colors or transparent ceilings, you could have them too, by dyeing and weaving in the appropriate fibers. Brightly dyed curving partitions could enclose a study, for example. And in the study, the wall itself could come out to form a desk, and then recede to form shelves. Once the structure was tailored to your specifications, you would coat the fabric with a resin to make it rigid, much as concrete is poured over steel. The result would be an incredibly strong, lightweight, and durable home, cut to your taste like a suit or a dress. This sculpture illustrates Messenger's ideas. The sculpture began as a rectangular piece of rib-knit fiberglass fabric. It was stretched over wires until the desired form was achieved. Then, polyester resin was applied to the fabric to make it rigid and self-supporting. What is important here is the fact that this sculpture would be impossible to duplicate using steel or any other type of metal, because the thickness of the surface would have to be so much greater in order to support its own weight. The fibers in the fabric are in effect working like rods in stressed concrete, or like the steel beams in skyscrapers. But pound for pound, no rod or steel beam has the strength of those fibers. They are so strong that just a few ounces of them are enough to stop a bullet. Just ask any policeman whose life has been saved by a lightweight, bulletproof cloth vest.
What you're seeing now is an extension of my ideas to create a total environment out of fabric. Walls, roofing, and enclose the whole environment using fabric in its different ways. Fabric could be stretched to create a volume, treated to be hard, to give the sense of permanency.
This sculpture has survived storms that have toppled other structures of metal and wood. And molded into walls and ceilings, this same material would hold out the wind and rain. And with its cost effectiveness, it would protect us from the ravages of inflation, too. It's not a tent, nor is it one of those weird ideas that does everything but work. On the contrary, what doesn't work are traditional methods of construction. Alex Messenger should know, for as a registered practicing architect, he designs buildings in the real world. And as a professor at the university, he tells his students that those buildings could have been cheaper, stronger, and more useful if they had been built of resin-coated fabric instead of brick and steel.
I can develop an environment that will add the feeling of continuity. It gives you a feeling that you walk through and the spaces are changing. Give you a feeling of rhythm, expectation. I was born in Russia in the period of the Second World War. It was a period of starvation. People died waiting in the line for a piece of bread. It was a very hard time for at least 3 to 4 years until the end of the war. Then we were traveling through Europe to Israel, and it took us for at least 4 years. I was in Exodus, the boat that created some history and sensation in the United States. I was one of the children of Exodus. Then coming to Israel in a very difficult period in '48 and through a long period of many wars. And seeing a lot of suffering. And I always believed I would like to build and to see the beauty in the creation of an environment rather than the destruction. And that's why I'm so fascinated with color and kind of to give the person the feeling there are so many beautiful things one can see in nature and in what he creates.